hit start recording. Okay, there we go. So welcome to Professionalism and Your Virtual Presence. We're going to begin quickly just talking about student success and career development services and resources. So we are here to help you navigate the academic portion of Otterbein as well as your journey beyond Otterbein as you think about your professional path. So we're here to help with academic, supplemental academic advising, course selection, if you're thinking about changing your major or double majoring or picking up a minor, making sure that you're on track to graduate, anything that we can do to help with that supplemental academic advising that you get from your academic advisor is your main source of information, but we're happy to supplement that information too. If you're thinking about study abroad, once that we are actually able to travel, we are also your point for that. Michelle DePold is our study abroad coordinator, so you'll see the email address you can use for any questions that you have is studyabroad@otterbein.edu. And then also the third spoke of our services focuses on career development. So if you're not certain about where you're headed professionally, Focus 2 is our self-assessment tool. It's a great starting point. We're also happy to help with job and internship search strategies, resume cover letter development, practice interviewing, networking with alumni and other professionals. And then if you're thinking about graduate school, we can help you with that as well. So anything that we can do to be helpful in any of those three areas, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to meet you where you are in this process and help you move forward. So where we're heading today is to talk about professionalism. So as it's defined, interestingly enough, it's difficult to define professionalism. So you'll see what we found there from a couple of sources, but I'll just say that the conduct, aims, or qualities that characterize or mark a profession or a professional person. So what does that mean? What does that look like? How is that realized? Hopefully through some of the things that I'll share with you in a little bit, this will become a little bit more clear. But sometimes it is, as you can see from our friends at Merriam-Webster and dictionary.com, it's a little bit difficult to specifically state what professionalism is. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that it is something that's sometimes difficult to define. So where we're headed with this, we're going to focus initially on some written communication, which these are some emails that were exchanged. So again, part of your virtual presence is not only how, or part of your professional presence, excuse me, is not only how you present yourself in person, but also how you present yourself virtually. That, in my mind, includes electronic communication as well. Oftentimes, that's a first impression that a potential employer has of you, whether you're submitting your resume and cover letter, an application for an internship or a job, or you're reaching out to someone for some advice. That first impression typically is electronic. So we're going to start with some written communication. And then we will head into LinkedIn for just a quick minute, just to give a quick overview there. And then I want to talk about Career Fest, which is our virtual career fair that's happening this Friday from 10 to 2. It's part of the Ohio Foundation of Independent Colleges event. So again, OFIC, Ohio Foundation of Independent Colleges Career Fest this Friday from 10 to 2, also being hosted on Handshake. So I want to give some tips and strategies on that as well. But again, anytime that you all have questions, let me know. Don't hesitate. So we're going to start with this written communication. So that what you see in front of you is this came through as a LinkedIn message to me several years ago from an Otterbein alum, and I will preface by saying that this student and I knew each other pretty well. We worked together extensively during their time here at Otterbein, but I share this as an example that maybe that is too relaxed and might be viewed as somewhat unprofessional. Again, we knew each other really well, but still I felt that this was unprofessional. I let the student know that, or the alum at the time, that while I appreciated their insight and attempt to help, that they could have conveyed this a little bit more professionally. So let me pause there. Anything that jumps out at you all is like, oh my gosh, like that's I wouldn't do something like that. Or maybe you're like, I don't really see the problem, Ryan, but let's engage a little bit. What do y'all think? Thank you, Mackenzie. The introduction is too informal. Yeah, the yo-yo. I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. I don't think I've gotten a message like that before. So thanks, Mackenzie. Another thought? Going along with Mackenzie's comment, yes, Carly, the word gotta, yes. So, the first impression of this overall message is, in the first 4 words, um, yes, Marissa, thank you. The lingo is too informal. Absolutely, good. Um, the point that the alum is making is great. They're trying to help Otterbein students be more competitive. They've realized that in the business world that industry is looking for more Excel skills. So the point that they're trying to make is there, but what's overshadowed is the informality of the messaging. So the point that I wanted to share with you all about this, even regardless of your relationship with the recipient of your message, keep it professional, because you as a student, if whether you're a first year or a senior, you've begun to develop that professional reputation here, not only in your classes, but also through all the other ways in which you spend your time, through internships and part-time jobs and clubs and organizations. So you've begun to develop that professional reputation and the professional communication. Interacting with your professors and other professionals is a great way to practice that before you get that first full-time job or enter that graduate program. So just a quick example to say this is too informal and would be deemed as unprofessional. Whereas in this next example, this is from a student who graduated several years ago and was looking to get into the publishing field. So I offered for this student to connect, to make an introduction between this student at the time and a contact that I had in the publishing world. And so the student, I share this as an example of a very professional message in terms of some background and what it is that the student is seeking from the recipient, Karina, that you see here. So I'll give you a second to read through that. And then when you're done, feel free to offer any insight or perspective that you have on this messaging as it compares to the previous message. Thoughts on this message? Or how you would feel as the recipient if you were Karina getting this message from the student? How would what would your impression be? Yeah, Mackenzie, great background on who they are and why they're sending. Yeah, the purpose is really important. So not only who they are, but what is it that you're seeking? What do you want? Are you just looking for advice and perspective? Are you looking for a job? In an initial email, asking for a job directly is probably not the route that I would suggest, because it's easy for that person to say, well, I don't have any jobs available, sorry. They likely wouldn't even respond to that. But if you're asking for their time to talk about their career background, their career path, and advice that they have for you as you're looking to enter a particular field, that's a much easier, it's much easier for the recipient to say yes to that. Sure, they can tell you their career path and story and offer advice. Okay, well, let's keep moving on. Thank you for that. I appreciate your feedback and insight. Many of you may have a profile on LinkedIn. That is the world's largest professional networking site. It differs from other social networking sites that are more about sharing information about your personal lives. LinkedIn is supposed to be focused on your professional perspective. So for me, what I would share on Facebook and Twitter would be completely different than what I'd be sharing on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is all about my education, mostly about my professional experience, so my work in higher education, career services, as opposed to family and dogs and vacations, which might show up on those other platforms. So I want to make sure that we have time to get through the other content. So I'm going to come back to LinkedIn, but it is all about experiences that you've had. Class projects are completely appropriate for you to include on your LinkedIn profile if you don't quite yet have the internship experiences and that's what it is that you're seeking. So know that LinkedIn can be a great tool for you, but let me come back to that. I want to make sure that we get through this other content here, and I'll be happy to share my LinkedIn page with you as we get to that. But I want to move into virtual professionalism, which is, as many of us are now, we're in Zoom meetings or Blackboard meetings like this every day for hours on end, whether it's for class or other meetings that you have. So we just wanted to offer some tips about how to be professional in this setting, which is where a lot of us are hanging out these days, or at least spending a fair amount of time. So you'll see this list. We're suggesting that you find a quiet area. I know when we first transitioned to work from home in March, I set up shop in our basement at home, and I kind of backed myself into a corner. I have 2 sons, so at the time they were in 6th and 8th grade. We were fortunate to have a little bit of room for them to spread out. So my 8th grader was down in the basement with me at a makeshift desk, and our 6th grader was upstairs with my wife. She was a teacher, so she was also teaching from home. So we just had a lot of people, and figure we were able to find kind of nooks around the house for people to be, and that was their area. I want to make sure that it's well lit. Also, that it's just sometimes the camera can't, if it's dark, you're just not able to see, or people can't see you as well there. A neutral background, so you can see I'm in the lower level of Towers Hall these days. My background is pretty boring. You can see a little bit of a shelf that's behind me with some knickknacks and other decorations, but you want to have a neutral background. You might be looking like, what are those things up there? Is that a cardinal hanging? Yeah, you know, so anything that's distracting back there will automatically take your viewers' attention away from what it is that you're saying, and many of you might be curious, more interested or more curious about what's behind me than what it is that I'm saying, so that's okay. Make sure that you test your audio and video prior to, and still make sure that you dress professionally. Lots of people, I recall being on meetings in March and April with people that were working from home, and they, to me anyway, they were wearing t-shirts and sweatshirts, and I still dressed professionally. I still maintained my wardrobe. Now I will say that I may have had jeans on instead of dress pants, but I still had a shirt and tie, and a quarter zip is typically what I wear in this kind of weather. So just to keep that dressed professionally, make sure you're looking at the camera. That's your replacement of eye contact. So if we were in person, when we are in person, obviously we value that eye contact from others, and looking at the camera as I'm now doing is just that nod to that eye contact. So making sure that you're looking at the camera, especially for an interview. If you have a virtual interview, you want to make sure that you are looking at the camera. You can certainly look away from time to time, but you want that eye contact to, again, you want to mimic that eye contact as you would in a face-to-face interview. Close as many tabs or all tabs as possible, just to make sure that you're getting the most focus and strength from your device or machine heading to this virtual meeting room, wherever it might be. Get the phone number of whomever you're interacting with, so that if there are some technical issues, that you can contact them and maybe have the conversation over the phone. I know pre-COVID we were doing, there was a search committee, it's actually probably about 2 years ago now, and we were doing Skype interviews with candidates, and we just could not get a connection with the candidate. So we ended up, because we had their phone number, we were able to do that interview with them at the designated time over the phone. So that worked out really well. But do make sure that your phone is silenced, so that if it does go off, and in my settings, I have my cell phone as well as my desk phone. My desk phone is currently not silenced because I did not do that. So if my desk phone rings, then that's going to be a distraction that we hear. So just try to minimize all of those distractions that could pop up around you. Some tips and tricks prior to going into the meetings, and this is something I learned the hard way. I would advise you to have your audio muted and your camera off by default, so that you make sure when you join a meeting that you are ready to join. There were a few meetings over the past however many months that my video was automatically on, and I joined and I wasn't ready. I didn't have my headphones in. I wasn't seated in my chair. Like I still, I just had stuff going on. I wasn't ready. I looked just unprepared. So have that video and audio off, so that when you do enter the meeting, you make sure that you are ready. Then you can engage by turning on your mic as well as your video. So And just some tips there, you can hit the space bar to unmute on Zoom, and all these platforms have a little bit different controls, but at the heart of them, video and audio, like have those off before you enter and then turn them on when you're ready to go. If you are in a one-on-one networking meeting, we also would say that you want to request permission to record that as well. So let me pause. Any questions that you all have so far? All right, hearing none, we will keep rolling along. So just a few upcoming events. So this is Internship Awareness Week. Happy Internship Awareness Week. So we're really pushing the internship search process. If you're looking for internships, or if you haven't yet begun your search process, or even if you're continuing your search process, we just have these events coming up this week that we hope will help prepare you for that process. Know that we're also happy to meet with you individually to talk about your unique situation, to talk about your search strategy, to do practice interviews, to review your resume. But we wanted to offer this week to really get students excited, ready, and prepared, and feeling good about their internship search. So tomorrow, you'll see our resumes and cover letters in this same room here on Blackboard. Same with navigating Handshake. Thursday at 4 o'clock, we have an internship panel. So we will have an alum who has hosted a number of interns over his professional career, talking about advice on how to maximize the internship, as well as 2 students who've recently completed internships. So they'll be sharing their experiences with the application and interview process, as well as how they really made their internships a learning experience. And then culminating on Friday with the OFIC Career Fest from 10 to 2 on Handshake, again, virtual event. There's about 90 plus employers. I'll walk you through some steps to get registered for that in just a second. But then also next week is our nonprofit job and internship fair, also on Handshake on Wednesday the 10th. So we have a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. And again, know that we're happy to meet with you individually to answer questions or help you feel prepared about that. Just some notes on Career Fest. Again, it's this Friday from 10 to 2. There'll be more than 90 employers and graduate programs. We suggest, if you haven't already, to register in advance on Handshake. So you'll log into Handshake, and if you need help with that, let me know. You can email me, or you can email Career. You can hang out in this space, and I'll be happy to walk you through how to get to Handshake. But you'll click on events, and then you'll click on career fairs. So I will actually, let me finish these slides, and I'll take you into Handshake just so you can get a sense of what that looks like. So you have the option of meeting with these employers, again, these 90 plus, so you're going to see who all is in attendance and the kinds of opportunities they have. And for those that have opportunities that are of interest to you, you can either sign up for 30-minute group sessions or one-on-one 10-minute sessions with the employers. And each employer and organization does it a little bit differently in terms of how many of those group sessions and one-on-one sessions they're offering. So that's why we encourage you to register now so that you can get one of those spots. There are 460 students that have registered for this. This career fair is open to students from 33 colleges across the state of Ohio. So while we have a good number of employers, we want to make sure that our students are filling those slots and of their information sessions and group sessions. And also some of those will be pretty competitive. So the earlier that you register and get on to Career Fest, the better. So I will come back to that in just a second. Let me also note that if you are looking for funding for a 5-card experience, that there is a deadline coming up also this Friday, February 5th. You'll see information here. The website is the best place to start as far as funding. So if you're thinking about doing a 5-cardinal experience and you need some funding to help support the completion of that, there is money available where you can submit an application that talks about the experience, the learning that you'll gain from that. You'll submit a budget as far as the cost that you're going to incur. And then also you'll find a faculty or staff member who will serve as your mentor for that experience. So take a look at that website. Know that the next deadline is this Friday, Feb 5. There's also another deadline coming up at March 5th. If you don't have time to complete the information by this Friday, let's say that you have a summer experience, know that you've got March 5th as well. And of course, any questions can go to 5cards@otterbein.edu. So let me stop sharing this, and I want to share the Handshake page really quickly. So give me just 1 second. We'll switch over to Handshake. And so you should see a page that says, what can we help you find today? So this is the student landing page of Handshake. You'll see that URL of app.joinhandshake.com. You actually can get there by otterbein.joinhandshake.com. But to find CareerFest, you will click on Events. And then the easiest way then is Career Fair. So Events and Career Fair, and you'll see the OFIC Career Fest for 2021. And I'll come back to this register button in just a second. Down here, you will see employers attending. So you can see there's 93. And if you wanted to look through and scroll through each of those, you can certainly do that. You'll find a brief description of the kinds of opportunities that they have. And then once you're like, gosh, you know what, I really would like to attend this event, we're going to click back to that main OFIC CareerFest page. We're going to click register. And then this is where we're going to sign up for those group and one-on-one sessions. Sign up before they fill up, I guess is the word or the phrase that we're going to use for this. Sign up before they fill up. So you click view employer sessions, and then this will take you to a page that provides you with their options. So whether it is a 30-minute or a 30-minute group session or individual sessions, you'll see those options right here, and then you'll sign up for one of those, whichever would be of interest to you. So know that each employer has those listed. So again, we want you to get in there to CareerFest and sign up for that. So let me stop sharing that. Any questions on CareerFest? Again, this Friday from 10 to 2 in Handshake. Okay, well, we've got just a few minutes left here, and I appreciate that you all are still with me. So let me do a quick share of LinkedIn. So give me 1 second. We'll do another quick share, and I just want to give you a brief overview of LinkedIn. Hang on 1 second. I have too many tabs open, so I am not following my own advice of closing all my tabs. So sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so what you see here is my LinkedIn feed, and if you're not familiar with LinkedIn, it's going to look and feel a lot like Facebook in terms of the information that you see. But this is my news feed, so these are people that are posting things, the people that I'm connected to. But what I want to zero in on is really the profile. So some key points or attributes to your profile. You want a professional headshot. There's that pesky professional word again there. And then this is known as your headline here, Executive Director of Career Development at Otterbein. So you can use a current job title, or for students, I suggest indicating the field of interest to you. So for example, you could say emerging graphic designer. Or emerging athletic trainer. You can say, you know, aspiring photographer, something like that, that really gives your whoever finds your profile a sense of what it is that you're seeking or the field that you're pursuing. Then we can get into location. The about is an opportunity for you to give a high-level overview of your background, skills, and experiences. And then we really go down into your experience. That's another section. So part-time jobs, internships, class projects that you've had are all absolutely fair game for you to include. So this is going to look and feel a lot like your resume. And if you've got your resume in a polished state, there's no need for you to reinvent the wheel. Just simply copy and paste that content over to these sections within your LinkedIn profile. And you'll see education, other positions I've held, some volunteer experiences that are there. And then you can also add some other profile sections here. So you've got a little bit of flexibility in terms of what information is shared here. And then once your profile is up to date, your goal is to really start connecting with people. So think about contacts that you have, professors, supervisors of part-time jobs, anyone that you know professionally should become a contact for you, and you'll begin searching for them in this bar here. So you can just type their name in if they've got a profile, and then you can reach out and connect with them that way. The last thing I want to share with you all, and I'm happy to answer LinkedIn questions specifically later on, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. The Otterbein Alumni Group is absolutely open to current students to join. So you're just going to type Otterbein Alumni in that search, and then you're going to send an ask to join this group, And there's about 2,800 members, I believe, in this group. I don't see that number quickly, but it's, I'm sorry, 2,898 members are in this group. It's absolutely open to current students, so please join that. And you can post messages in this group saying, I'm seeking an internship in a healthcare related field this summer. Does anyone have any advice? And I would strongly encourage that, because the alums that are in here, they're really some that have been super helpful and really want to connect with students. So don't hesitate to join that Otterbein alumni group on LinkedIn. So questions that you all have as we wrap up here. Okay, well, I appreciate you all being here today. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. You can email me directly, Ryan Breckbill. It's rbreckbill, RBRECHBILL at otterbein.edu, or it's probably easier just to write down career at otterbein.edu, and it will find its way to me as well if you've got specific questions. But hey, thanks again for being here today. Happy Internship Awareness Week. Be sure to take advantage of those other programs that we have this week and let us know how we can be helpful to you individually throughout this semester. So have a great rest of your day. You're welcome, Mackenzie. Thank you. You're welcome, Carly. Thank you all. Thanks, Marissa. You're welcome.